So Matt, I've dragged you in here to ask you a question. It's happening a little bit out there. I've asked Jax to film, so if there's anybody else in the same boat, they can listen to what you think.
Yeah.
So we've been lucky the last year or so. The market's been pumping. It's still really good. However, what I'm finding is that owners are still in a really competitive price bracket. However, the buyers have come off just a little bit, and we're seeing a bit bigger gap between the owner's expectation and the buyers. And I'm just wondering, how do you set that up right from the beginning and or close that gap?
How do you manage it, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you, George, is you're having a few difficulties at the moment with people adjusting to the market.
Yeah.
If there's a little bit of the wind out of the sails out there.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple of things. Relationships are really important. So if you're just dealing with someone you hardly know and you've competed against 5 different agents and you've secured it and you've thrown the kitchen sink at them to try and get their listing and sell their house, they're going to be quite hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So some agents out there are throwing this at people, throwing that at people, doing their fee, hardly anything. That's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got a bit of relationship through prospecting,
Yeah.
or providing them with great service, you have an equity bank there, so it's a bit easier then.
Yeah.
So they know what you like. It's like dealing with me or you. If I was selling your house, I'd be like, George, this is
Just
what's
take
happening.
it. Yeah.
A little bit less anxious
Yeah.
around that. But it all comes back to understanding their motivation. So if you're dealing with somebody and when I list their house or when I'm dealing with people before I've even listed it, I want to know how motivated they are. Are they a 2 or are they a 10? Because if they're a 10, provided you give them great service, they're going to listen to you.
Yeah.
If they're a 2, you've got no real reason to sell and listen to you. They're driven by, if I get this price, then I'll sell my house.
Yeah.
So you can't judge it just on this is how to lessen the gap. But what you can do is start to look at the people closer.
Yeah.
You might not want to, if people just aren't listening, you might not want to work with them. The other thing is, you've got to set it right up from the beginning. Because let's say they want 3 million, or let's say they want 1.8 million. There's not a lot of houses around here 3 million. So let's say they want 1.8 million. And you think it's worth 1.2 million at the beginning.
Yep.
Because remember, transparency and honesty is the key.
Yep.
If you go, oh yeah, I think it's worth 1.8 million, and that's it, just agree with them, you've pretty much cornered yourself. Because what are they going to say later?
You said there was 1.8.
You said 1.8. Even though they said it, you're just agreeing with it. We're supposed to be professionals that give them consultation on where the market is, how to maximise their price, all of that. If you think it's worth 1.2 million and they're really motivated and you think there's a chance they might get a higher price, you've got to work with them, but say, this is where I think the logical range is, and you're going to have evidence around that, 1.2 to 1.4. This is where the emotional range is, if people fall in love with it, 1.4 to 1.5, 1.6. If we get competition in the emotional range, you may get the figure that you want, but I can't guarantee that. What I can guarantee is these are the 2 levels of logical and emotional that I see right now.
Got it.
Because if you do that up front, and we just had this, a guy who we've been working with who's in La La Land, and his prices since we listed it has gone up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
He came to one of our properties, and what did he say to the neighbour?
I think I understand the value of mine a bit better now.
I think the guys were right.
Yeah.
I think Matt was actually right, because I sat in front of him at the beginning and said, this is what I think. I'll work with you, but this is what I think.
Yeah.
Always remember, the truth will set you free. So in the beginning, you've got to be as truthful as you can, but give people hope still on strategy.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because normally when we're sitting in a listing presentation, that's how we present. Honest, transparent. But what does the next 3 people come in and say? Oh, 1.8. Oh, you want 1.8? I'll get you more.
Yeah, I'll get you 2.
I'll get you 2.
Yeah.
No evidence.
But you've got to remember, this conversation was lessening the gap.
It was, yes.
Yeah, so how do you lessen the gap with the people that you've listed? It's those things. Their motivation, your service levels, and what you've said to them before. that gap will be much easier managed. But if you've set it up wrong from the beginning, as in just agreed with them, promised them the world, haven't taken great care of them, that gap's going to be big, it's going to stay big, and you probably won't get it together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.